YouTube channel. This tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to authenticate your user using Google inside your Ionic 7 app, and we'll be configuring for the Android as well as the web. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Get started. This is going to be very quick and simple. I hope it will be, but I've already started my project using Ionic Serve, and I've created my project, and this is the project running here on my terminal. Underneath home, this is the blank project that I've started, as well as the yeah, cool. I think we are ready to start. So to start here, I'm gonna go to my terminal and say Ionic generate a page and put it inside pages directory, and then I'm gonna start with my login page. As you can see now, my login page is done, and here I'm gonna say when the path is empty, please go to the login page. So this could be the first page that it loads when you load the project, as it starts from this port here. Now this is our login page. We're gonna quickly style now our login page before we move to the other things, right? So I'm just gonna quickly move this to headers on top, because you don't need a header when you are on login. So I'm gonna have first, I'm gonna create a title here, P, and here I'm gonna have another container that will have my buttons. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, because I'm creating a workout app, okay, and here I'm gonna have two buttons. One for log in with email, and then the other one is the Google icon button. First I'm gonna need an icon here, so I'm gonna put icon tag here inside this button. Okay, so now I need to find the icon key. So I'm gonna go onto the internet and search for the Google icon, which is a CVG. I found it under icon finder. I'm just gonna download this and rename it, because it has that long name there. So after I'm done downloading and renaming this, let me take it, I'm gonna copy it and paste it under my assets folder, and we have that icon there. Since it's a CVG, you see it was like that there. So now inside this icon, I'm gonna call this icon using the source, and it's under my assets google.svg. I'm gonna save this and look if it worked, and you see we have the key over there inside our button. So now we are going to continue with styling of the button itself. So I'm just gonna quickly do a style here. So for button, I'm gonna have the color light instead of that blue over there, and I'm gonna go down here and have a text that say continue with Google. Alright, and we have that over there. So the next thing that we'll have down, which will be up in the background, will be then the image that we want to put. So I'm gonna go through my assets and look for and have this image. Yes, so I have this image which is free. I got it from Pixabay, I think. Yeah, you can get any image for your background. So I'm just going to now style the CSS of my login. So for the background, because I want to have this picture, the whole picture, as the background there. So now I'm just gonna try to locate that image from my assets right here. Try and make it center so it could fit the whole background and just cover it. Right, let's see. It's not showing. Something I'm doing wrong, but because of time I'm just gonna go back to it later on. Let's style the title and the rest of the UI here quickly. So I'm gonna change the color to white and increase the font size. And give it some space around. Space on top as well, extra space there. And padding. I'm going to align it to center. And I'm going to call the class here to take title. Okay, it shows there because it's white, the background is white, so you can't see it now. And then let's see. I will style also this container because I want it to be at the bottom there. So I'm gonna have a styling class called container on my CSS. I have flex row, display to flex, and want to have it by the end and have right to 0, left to 0, and to the bottom of our page, and positioning this to absolute and flex direction to a column. I'm gonna add some padding as well here. Let's see. Right, we have our 2 buttons at the bottom right there. Right, and then let's see what else is missing. Actually, the style of the background, I didn't call it, hence it wasn't showing. Let me just try to add the class here for the background and see if now it shows. Perfect. Now that we have our picture background and our landing page looks perfect for us now. Right, so the next thing I will do is to change the color of my app. So I'm gonna go to the variables.css and go to this link right here to generate my own color theme for the whole project, so we could take. So if you go to the site, you will then find the theme basics from Ionic. So I'm gonna go for color generator rather, and I will pick the color that I want here. For my primary color, I'll take this one, and I don't know, for secondary color as well, I will just pick a black. And for secondary color, I will do the black. And tertiary, let's see, for tertiary color, I don't know, I'm gonna leave it like this because I don't really use it. So I'm gonna go down here to see the code that has been generated in my new colors. And I'm going to copy all of it, copy that and paste it underneath this file. And I'm just going to save and see if it's generated the new colors for me. And there we have it. We have the new theme colors right there. And everything in our app will have those colors that we have picked right there. At this point, I'm happy with the UI. Let's start putting some action into our button. So first, inside the login page, I will then create a function called sign in, and this one will be called inside the HTML button for giving it an action that when you sign in, it should execute this method. Okay, just save this there. So to do this, I'm gonna have an auth service. So to create an auth service in Ionic 7, I'm gonna say Ionic generate service, and I'm gonna put it underneath the service folder and call this an auth. Now here it will take all the back ends of the authentication that we'll be making inside our app. So inside auth, I'm gonna put all of the authentications that we'll need to communicate with server. Now let's go to the interesting part, adding the Google inside our project. For mine, I use Cortex Studio. Cortex Studio is having the capacitor auth package. You're gonna use this so that you can communicate with the Google service. Now there is another package, I'm not sure, it's Tricks something. You can also use that, but for this tutorial I'm gonna use the Cortex Studio. Now in this tutorial you'd see we'll have to save first install the package inside our app. So I'm going to create another terminal here and run npm save at Cortex capacitor Google auth, and this will run. It's just loading. Right now, for this documentation, I am quite not happy with it, but I will show you how to navigate around it. It's a bit complex. And let me see. Right, would also want to update your capacitor as well. Let me just do that. Update npm update, and then I'm gonna start. So there are three options to do it. You're gonna do it with the web, and you're gonna do it with Angular for web as well. There's one for Vue if you're using Vue, and then for iOS and Android they have their own separate settings, but for now we're gonna start with the web settings and then we're gonna move to the Android one. Now for the web settings, you see what you're gonna need as a client ID, the scopes, and to put it in your app, and then to use it you need to initialize it and then make sure that you get your platform ready and initialize it. And then to sign in, we're just gonna use the Google auth.signin and give our credentials there. Now to get the client ID, I'm gonna show you where to actually go for all of that. Now there's a page for Google Console. It's called, is it Google Console? You will need to go to Google Cloud Console, Google Console. Okay, when you get into Google Console, you will see select a project, but we want a new project, so I'm gonna say start a project. So with this one, it's they have limited space for the free one, but I still have like 11 projects to do. Right, for this project, I'm gonna call this a workout app and no organization. I'm gonna say create. So it's just gonna do that there. Right, so we're gonna go to API and service. You click on it, API and service. You need additional. Okay, I want to select workout. Must be careful which project you're working on. So check here at the top of this. I don't know, but for them it keeps on changing. So when you get here, you are going to go to the trade. Okay, so create a new project. So we're gonna have to create credentials. So I'm gonna click on credentials, and you see I have no credentials yet here. So I'm gonna say add create. We're gonna need an auth client ID. As I've said on this site, they need a client ID, so it is that auth client ID. I'm gonna say create one. Right, so create ID is to identify a single app Google Auth service. This app's run in multiple platforms, so each platform will need its own ID. So we're gonna start creating an ID for a web one, but first we need to configure the auth consent string. And there we go. For here, user type, use external, and we're gonna say create. So app information, just gonna call this workout. Just gonna go call this workout app, and supports. I'm just gonna click on my email. So for this one, you're just gonna do it when you are ready to publish. Otherwise, if you click them now here, they would want you to proceed with extra stuff to proceed. So I'm gonna leave this as well open here. I'm just gonna put let me just use this email as well, and I'm gonna save and continue. And it's gonna go to step number 2, which is the scope. I'm just gonna add the scope there. We have an email profile. I'm just gonna click on those 2 ones and update. And when you scroll down your sensitive scope, we don't have one. Restricted, we don't have one. I'm gonna go to test users. I'm gonna continue with this one as well. And we have our concerned. We're gonna go back to our dashboard. Now that we have our concern thing working from this part, I'm just gonna publish this one so that it does not give us error while we are working out here. Right, so we have the auth cap, the auth limits, and all that stuff that we need. I think that is fine. We're gonna go back to our credentials now that we have the consent string auth thing. Now we have to create credentials. I will then go to the auth client ID as it's needed. Right, so application type, we are doing a web one first. As I've said, every client ID would need, every platform would need its own client ID. So this one, I'm just gonna call this workout web, so that I know this is an ID for web. So here they are going to ask you for the authorized JavaScript URI. I going to use localhost 108.1.0.0. So it will depend on you as well which localhost it's running. So don't use mine. So check if it's running normally for Ionic Advanced on this server 8100. And then I will then go to authorized JavaScript. I don't know what this is, but to be safe, I'm just gonna add it. Okay, so create. Just gonna create. So it says it's created. So one thing that we need is this key here. I'm gonna copy it. We need this key to make sure that we are able to authenticate our users. So that we have this key, we're gonna go back to our app and create go ahead and create all of this here. Okay, to do that, I'm gonna go to my code. We have the authentication right here. Let's see what the documentation says. So they want us to import the Google Auth there. I'm gonna import the Google Auth, and from the Google Auth I will then go to I'm gonna paste it there. And then next thing, let's go to our documentation. we need to initialize it. So I'm just gonna go to the angular part here on top. So we're gonna have in our constructor, we need to initialize our app, and we need to also get the platform ready, and then here we're calling this initialize method here. Okay, so first you see they need us to have a platform, so I'm going to inject platform here, platform from Ionic Angular, and here I'm gonna have a okay, so I can just do it right here instead of having a separate method like they have here. So I'm gonna paste this here and say this platform is ready. Okay, I'm gonna save here, and then the next part, it says that now that you want to sign in function, we are going to have this. So I'm gonna copy this, and here I'm gonna paste it here. Right, so signing in with Google, sign in, let user await Google auth. This one we initialize, and I'm gonna call sign in. Now we don't need this provider for now. Because this part here that I delete is for when you are using Firebase and you want to forward all of this credentials to your Firebase, and then this one is for Firebase authentication. So at this tutorial, we're not letting our users to go to Firebase just yet. So I'm just gonna return await Google user. Okay, right here let me just create a user here, user as any. Okay, because I want to use this user somewhere else in any other pages. In this case, if now I want to access this user anywhere else, I know that I'll have it underneath my auth. So I'm gonna return user. So whenever I call this Google sign in, it'll return user that has been prompted to sign in right here. So I'm gonna leave my auth like this, and make sure that I call this on my login page right here. So underneath my login TS page, I will have to inject first. I injected the auth here and the router. Now I'm gonna call that method on my auth. Right, so this user, I've declared user here, so this user is equals to await this authentication, this auth, say this dot call that Google sign in method we just did, and I'm gonna save this now. All right, so for the routing, let's say if this works, it should return something in user, and if there's something in user, I want this router to take me to navigate to home, square brackets, and hash home. Right, and next thing, we want to see what actually is inside user. So I'm gonna lock the user to see what is inside user. Need to do extra settings that are needed. If you scroll down here, it would want to have to give that to provide configuration and the root of capacitor config. I'm gonna need a plugin like that one. So because we are using Ionic, let me go down, we will need capacitor config.ts. So because we use Ionic, we will need this, the TS part. So I'm gonna copy all of this, and so we are in capacitor config. I'm gonna paste it here. So plugins, it needs, so we've done the email and the scope for the profile as well. So here it's where we need to put our Google user consent ID that we got on the other side. Right, now to do that, we will have to go back. So credentials, I'm going to copy client ID, and I am going to remove from here, remove the excess they have, and put my ID like this here, and save, and keep the token to be true. Okay, and the other part is we are going to need to configure our HTML, our index.html. Let me just go up. That's for Android. Right, this part here, we will copy this one, and we are gonna go to our index.html, and from the part down here, I'm just gonna paste it here, and gonna remove this and replace it with the ID. Oh, this page keeps crashing. With the client ID that we have here. Okay, I'm gonna copy it again, and I'll paste it here and save. So, right, let's test our app and see if it works. Fingers crossed. Right, so I'm gonna continue with Google. As you can see now, it shows this thing. So let's say I log in as this one. It should take me to the there. See, it has been logged in well. So it complains about the origin whatsoever here. Don't worry about it, but there's a way to fix it. However, now that we have successfully did this, we are able to get the user's details here. It means the user has signed in correctly. Now with this method, if I refresh here, I'm gonna lose this user, everything that the user did. So there's no user that has signed in here. So to actually keep the user, you will need to use checked sign in here to refresh. So if they refresh, make sure that we still access the token of the user, and otherwise if there is nothing here, type the user have actually logged out. So if it catches the error, then we're gonna say this sign in and make the user to sign in as well. Sign in back into our app. Right, so if there's a token, it will send out this one. So I'm not gonna do this right now at this moment, but however, that is how you do credentials for signing in with Google using the web part. The next part that I'm gonna do is for when someone is actually using a mobile phone, and to do that we need Android Studio. Let me quickly open the Android Studio to do the configuration for that part. I need to build my project, so I'm gonna say Ionic build. Okay, so that we will be able to actually generate the bundles for the Android, as it will need that. And I am going to add our capacitor as well. Cap add Android. Yeah. Now we're gonna go back again to our credentials, and I think my internet's a bit slow. Okay, so we're gonna add another one. We're gonna add another credentials or service. Project type, I'm gonna pick Android. I'm gonna call this workout Android. Package name, let me see my package name just to confirm. Verify here if it's still the same one. Right, see package name is this one. I'm gonna say Ionic starter. Now if you however change this at some point, make sure you also configure this part, otherwise it won't work at all. Now this works with the certificate, printing of the certificate, and we need to find it, the fingerprint inside our project. So we are going to go to terminal. Let me clear this. Now you're gonna say key tool minus list minus v minus alias, and we're gonna say Android debug key and minus key store space. I'm going to use that, and /.android /debug .key store. Okay, so they're gonna ask you a password, and the password for this is Android, small letters. Right, so we got our certificate for this project, and it is this one here. If you go back, this page keeps crashing, okay? And if you go back here, they were asking us for that certificate. Okay, they want to start all over. Android. I call this workout. Android. Package name. It's Ionic. First start. Yes, Ionic starter. Right, so they wanted the fingerprint here. Usually this command doesn't work for me. You just have to remove the debug and replace parts with debug. That's what I showed you there. So I'm gonna copy this guy here. Make sure you don't copy any extra spaces. I'm gonna paste it here. And this, you don't have to verify the ownership yet. You're gonna say create. Okay, all right. So I've already used a certificate for this package and the fingerprint. Okay, let me see if I can change here and call this workout and save. Right, so we have our Android package, our Android client ID rather. Right, now let's go back to our app. So we still have a lot of configuration we're gonna need for Android. So we have our Android here. We will need to go to that Android file and go to app, source, main, Java. We might need to change this as well. Okay, let me see if I can debug. If I could say Ionic cap to change this cap add. Okay, Ionic. Oh no, Ionic cap add Android. Let me build it. I still say starter. Let me see if I could change it here. Let me remove. When I remove workout, I'm just gonna remove the whole Android and build it again. Let me add Android again and see if it will take the correct package now, because I've kind of changed it on the other side and it will need those changes there. Main Java, yes. Okay. Right, so things that we'll need is we will need I'm gonna say first gonna import android.os.bundle import. It's not here, but it's from com.getCapacitor. Capacitor dot, and I'm going to import com.Cortex Studio. Capacitor dot Google auth dot Google auth. Oh, I actually have this. Okay, so I'm gonna do an override here for my protected entry 8. The old version of Capacitor already have this, so this new one you have to do bundle. Saved instance state. Okay, super on create saved instance, and then I'm going to register a plugin. I'm going to use Google auth class. Okay, let's see, and cap add Android. Okay, I hope this package does not give me problems. Class path. Right, but basically that is it. We still have to go to Android manifest XML. So here we need to have resource. Under resource, we're going to have the string here. I'm going to open resource, and down here we have values and we have strings. So when I get here, I will paste string that we copied from the other side, and then here we will need our client ID for Android. So I'm going to remove your web. Right, so there's an extra setting here saying that you will need to, the plugin first use client ID, if not use client ID value. Android client ID. Okay, so here it says your web key actually, so you don't need the Android one, you still need the web one, but I'll copy from here because I already have one. So for some reason here for Java it wants the web one. Not sure why, but I'm gonna save this, and then we are basically done. Now I'm gonna open my Android Studio. I'm using Android Studio Flamingo 2022, and I'm gonna start opening that project folder. When you open your project, make sure that you open the folder Android in your Android Studio. Okay, so it's just gonna load, and we're gonna test if the settings that we've done in configurations are actually the ones and they're working. Okay, so a quick fix here. This part should not be private, should be protected underneath the main activity Java. So just quickly say fix that to protect it, save it. Right. And on platform, we've missed some of the things on the auth class here. So because we're running on Android, we need to make sure that everything works fine with any platform that we run in. So under the constructor here, I will change and say if not is platform. I will import is platform right on top here. From Ionic Angular. Right, so if it's not this platform, pass it in. Then the Google initialize should still work, so I'm gonna initialize here. Okay, let's see. Right, so the platform capacitor should be inside string, so I'm gonna change that there. Actually, I just realized that I made a mistake here. I pasted .com twice, so I'm just gonna remove this here and also fix here as well. I had two of those there. And then I'm gonna say I need to copy Android so that my Android Studio could get the changes as well. Now that it's done, I have opened my Android Studio, my Android app. I'm just gonna make it run into this device, and it's gonna launch here. All right, so now I say continue with Google. Okay, so this is a consent thing that we're doing. So it's gonna give it consent to say continue, and then it went through. It means the user has successfully logged in. Right, and that's how you configure the Android for Google authentication. But I'm gonna quickly do my home page so you could see if how it would look like to have an icons and as well as the name of the user logged in. Okay, so back to the home screen, we will declare user from type any, and we're gonna get the user's details from an auth service, because when we run Google Auth, we had assigned the details of the user to a variable name. That auth service, okay. User is equal to auth service dot that user. So on init, we're gonna use that on init because it actually runs first when this page is loaded. So I'm gonna say, so if this page runs, if we get to home and there's a user, oh no, actually if there's no user here, we don't want to see the home page, so this should route back. Let me import router. Okay, this is the wrong router. Navigate back to login. Since we will have the user details, we're gonna go to home and change everything here and have the detail, a small detail here. Okay, sorry about that, my computer just stopped recording, but otherwise on home.html I added this lines so that we get details from the user, we get image, we get a username and email, and just a button there. Let's see how it looks like when you run our app. And then let me use this one. Right, as you see now we have the details, users details that we get from the signing in with Google. You can display it there, you can have the users things, and from here you can also go to the author and get the details of the user and push it to Firebase or any other plugin or framework rather of a database that you use to store your users. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching my videos. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and please give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, and I'm so sorry about the sound and the noise background. I'll do better next time. Thank you.